Today we're exploring one of the most stunning spots in Michigan, Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. From colorful cliffs and flowing waterfalls to pristine beaches and dramatic rock formations, this is one of those places you need to see with your own eyes. Here's how we spent an amazing 24 hours in the park, and be sure to let us know what your favorite spot is in the comments. We spent the previous night in Munising and then drove an hour out to Grand Marais to enter the park from that side and slowly make our way back. All right, after our hour drive, we're gonna spend the rest of the day exploring Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. First up, we're heading out on the short trail to Sable Falls, but do note that there's 168 stairs down and back up. It's only about a quarter-mile round trip with the stairs to get down to Sable Falls, or you can take the 1.2-mile round trip trail that takes you all the way out to the beach. There certainly are a lot of stairs to get to the base of this one. About halfway down, you'll get your first view of Sable Falls through the trees, but continue all the way down as the view straight on is impressive. That's a really nice waterfall. It has a few cascades. It's pretty with the trees around it. Very nice. This waterfall is about 75 feet, and it really is beautiful as it heads into Sable Creek and then continues into Lake Superior. Figured since we'd already done all of the downhill to get to the waterfall, we might as well go out and see the beach as well. One of the things you'll notice about this park as the day progresses is that it just hugs the lake, and it's beautiful because you continue to get close to it as you go around.
This is so cool. I especially love when you see the river emptying into the lake. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it's just cool to be able to walk through a forest with a waterfall and then just see a beach. How do you beat this, Pops? It's incredible.
This is known as Sable Falls Beach, and we were the only people out here, and I would have liked to have just spent the rest of the day in this one spot.
Such an amazing spot as our first stop in the National Lakeshore.
The trail back is beautiful as it follows Sable Creek into the forest and up the stairs. We took a couple more views of the waterfall before starting the climb back up, and there was a sign that someone wrote that said, "Enjoy life, except the stairs."
Almost to the top. Pops quits. Somebody call search and rescue.
After finishing the hike, we started the drive south with our next stop a mile away at the Grand Sable Visitor Center. Also note there are many signs talking about the poison ivy in the park, so watch out for that.
Unfortunately, the visitor center still says it's closed for the season in late May, so we are continuing on.
Our next quick stop brought us to Grand Sable Lake Overlook, where there's a few picnic benches, a small parking area, and some great views out over the lake. From there, it was another 20-minute drive and a short excursion on Log Slide Road to our next stop.
At Log Slide Overlook, there's a lot of picnic benches if you're looking for a place to have some lunch.
This is about a half-mile trail that led us past some spring wildflowers and some old historic logging equipment.
So they put logs on top of this and had horses pull it. I can't imagine that. It weighs a ton.
Passing the old equipment will bring you out to the historic log slide, which is an interesting part of the area's history. Back when logging was prevalent in this area, they had a long wooden chute that sat above the dunes, and they would actually take the logs and then slide them down the chute to the water below. This allowed them to be easily loaded onto a boat and taken to where they were processed.
Man, this is incredible. Look at these views up here, but don't go down there. And they said going down takes about 30 seconds and coming back up takes an hour. I can't believe how incredible this view is. Pops stayed up in the forested area, but man, this is awesome. Do you see the little person down there? Right here.
I mean, I guess one of the benefits is that if you do want to walk all the way down there, you'll have the entire beach to yourself for sure. I couldn't get enough of the views here, and you could even see a lighthouse way out in the distance.
That was definitely my favorite part of the park so far. The views there were just perfect. Now we're gonna drive for a little while, stop at a couple overlooks, but go more to the southern section of the park where we're gonna do a bunch of other things. This is the Lake Superior overlook that we're at, and on the way here you could have gone and hiked to the lighthouse, but it was around 3.5 miles round trip, and we just don't have time to do it before the boat later.
This is definitely a park you're going to want to plan to hike at, as there are some overlooks, but most of the great views and waterfalls are all from hiking trails. From here, the road headed inland as we made it towards our next stop.
So our last stop was up here, and we drove all the way down and up this Miners Castle Road, and now we're heading out on Miners Falls. And here's all the places that pets are allowed in the park. Here's the places pets are not allowed.
Miners Falls is about a 1.25 mile round trip, and it's one of the most popular stops in the park, so the parking lot can fill up.
It's so nice to see the blue wildflowers along the way, hear the birds out in the distance, and just walk under this beautiful forest. I love that most of the trails we've done in this park so far have been shaded, which just makes it really peaceful, and the weather's great. There's no direct sun on you. I'm definitely enjoying exploring this area. This is the first view from the upper overlook, but like every other trail in this park, stairs.
There's stairs over there. What's that?
I love how well maintained the trails are here, and the stairs that they put in make it easy to access the viewpoints. This is a little bit further away, but it still gives you great views of the 50-foot waterfall, one of the most powerful in the park.
It's a pretty nice waterfall. Definitely worth the half mile of effort.
Once you leave, there are 65 steps on the way back up.
I think this makes 592 stairs today.
We got 3 more stops in the park before we have a food break, and then we go back out on the boat and see it from the water. All right, now we're heading out on the short hike to Miners Castle, which is probably the most famous rock formation that you can reach from the land in the park.
From the parking area, it's only about 1/10 mile to the main overlook.
All right, Pops, does it look like a miner's castle?
No, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That looks like a miner's castle. I love the miner's castle moat. This is gorgeous right here.
Check it out, there's viewing platforms for little kids so that they don't have to hang over the edge of this.
After taking in the rock from this view, you can actually head lower if you're interested.
Now we're heading to the lower overlook, which is 1,000 feet that way.
Hopefully not 1,000 steps, but 1,000 feet.
Hiking down to the lower viewpoint adds about 1/4 mile each way, and it does have some stairs that you have to go down, but luckily it's shaded like the rest of the trails.
Keep off Miners Castle. And there it is, the Miners Castle from up close.
From this viewpoint, you get a close look at the rock formation, but it doesn't look quite as staggering from here as it does from above. There's also a fun kids viewing platform like there was above, and some great views out towards the water.
You can see all the different ways that it's changed over the years. Just with the water and the weather, and they say crumbling into time. From here, if you want to hang out on the sand, you can go to Miners Beach, which is right next to us. But we're gonna do one more thing, which is another waterfall back closer to town before we end our land-based exploration of this park.
This is one of the easiest access points for the park and only about a 7-minute drive from the town. There's a small visitor center here you can see next to the parking area, and then it's about 1/4 mile walk up to the waterfall. It's nice and shaded, and you follow Munising Creek the entire way up there with a couple different bridges that take you across it.
And there it is, our first view of the waterfall.
There are 2 viewing platforms for the 50-foot waterfall, but the first one you get to is actually pretty far away, and it's better to continue on to the second one. After about 24 stairs, you'll reach the upper viewing platform, and you get a great direct view of the falls.
What do you think of our last waterfall?
I think it's really cool. I especially like this wall that's behind it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a big amphitheater that it falls into.
It really is.
All right, Pops, what do you think? Should we go get some food finally?
I want a pasty.
A pasty. Let's do it.
We had some time to kill before our boat tour, so we headed into town for a UP staple.
We have arrived at Muldoon's Pasties. I'm very excited to try this.
If you don't know what a pasty is, it's basically like a handheld meat pie.
All right, we got the meal deal, which is a traditional beef pasty with gravy, coleslaw, and a drink. We both got exactly the same thing.
It's good. It's bland, but it needs something else. But it's good.
Good, but needs a topping. Well, look at all these toppings you got.
That's right. That's the way to go. 100%.
Brown gravy.
They say you either like brown gravy or ketchup the best, and so we tried it both ways to decide which one we liked. We figured we couldn't leave without trying the sweet one, so we got an apple and a cherry to share. All right, I'm going traditional with sriracha ketchup and cherry as my choice. What about you, Pops?
Ditto. That's all I gotta say. Ditto.
Ready for the second part of our time exploring Pictured Rocks? We're taking the boat cruise to Sable Falls. If you want to really experience the park, you absolutely must take a boat tour while you're there.
Yeah, I look forward to it. This is the reason we're here. Pictured Rocks.
When we went in June, it wasn't too busy, but be sure to get there early if you want one of the upper deck spots as they fill up quickly. Pops took an upper deck spot, but I'm staying down here so I can walk to both sides and see both views. If you're there in the summer and you do want to do the Sable Falls cruise that we did, then you probably want to call in advance, as I've heard it does sell out on busy weekends. When we went, this cruise was about 2 hours in length and it cost around $60 a person.
Look at Pops, you smell so bad that no one wanted to sit in the entire downstairs area with him. He's all by himself.
I bought all these sheets so I can have this deck for myself.
Yeah.
The trip starts out in a much more forested area, but you do get to see a lighthouse as you make your way out to Pictured Rocks. Also, you go about 35 miles on this cruise, seeing many different colored cliffs, sea caves, and of course, waterfalls.
That waterfall is called Jasper Falls.
The waterfalls were the main reason I wanted to take this cruise and why I picked the Sable Falls cruise that goes to an additional one. There's just something special about seeing these waterfalls go directly into Lake Superior.
There's the overlook we were at earlier right there, and there's Miner's Castle.
I don't know about you, but I thought Miner's Castle looked better from the boat with those caves right above the water at the base of it. After rounding the bend, we passed Miner's Beach and then we arrived at our next waterfall, which was called Bridal Veil Falls. This is like the 6th waterfall I've seen on my travels called Bridal Veil Falls. There's just something about the way the water cascades over the rocks as it makes its way down to the lake that I'll never forget. From here, the cruise really hits its stride and it's beautiful the entire way until we turn around. During this section, you'll see the pictured rocks from which the park gets its name. They rise in front of you over 200 feet above the Lake Superior shoreline. The reason why the colors on the cliffs are so vibrant is because they've been stained by minerals like iron, copper, and manganese, which seep out of the rocks. The next point of interest was a place called Caves of All the Colors, a unique series of sea caves that sit right above the water. The next point of interest is one you've probably seen before, and that's the arch called Lover's Leap. I would love to have been able to kayak through the arch, which is offered on some of the kayak tours, but it was pretty cool to see it from the boat as well. One of the best things about this boat cruise is that every time you went around a different bend, you got to see amazing things out in front of you. I was so impressed by the massive rock fall that came off of some of these cliffs. I mean, look at the rock that fell in the middle of this massive arch. At about the halfway point, there was a big opening on the right-hand side, and our captain actually took the boat into the small cave. Once we exited safely, we made our way around the bend, and this was actually my favorite part of the entire cruise outside of the waterfalls, and that was the formation known as Chapel Rock. You can also see the small Chapel Falls as you're getting close to it. Chapel Rock is amazing because of the rock formation, which looks like it has a window in the middle of it, and because of the white pine that lives on top of it and which has to have its roots go across the rocks in order to get nutrients. From there we passed more caves, beautiful rock formations, and points of interest on our way to our last stop.
There's our last waterfall of the day, Sable Falls.
Sable Falls is a remote and incredible 70-foot waterfall that falls directly into Lake Superior and is well worth the cruise out to see it. There's also a shipwreck that actually lies at the base of the waterfall.
Cool is that, Pops?
That was
so incredible between the colors and the arches and the waterfalls. Just an amazing little trip that you could take to see all this beauty.
On the way back, you take the exact same route, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for some of your favorite spots.
That was an incredible way to end our day in Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. If you want to see more Michigan content, check out the video in the description, and we will see you on the next one.